Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais with another episode of the weekly wrap up for the Yaki Show. And this is for the week ending 17th of January 2025. And it's a very cold week for us up here in Ontario. We've had snow on the ground since Christmas, I think Christmas Eve, and some really cold temperatures coming up. But anyway, let's first welcome Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Peter. Thank you so much. And thank you also very much for tuning in to our show. We so appreciate having you.
Well, now that we've welcomed you and we've got ourselves going, let's get straight into your deep dive on your health issue. What have you got for us today, Kathleen?
Well, Peter, this is an interesting topic, and I think you're going to find it very interesting. It's an article from Dr. Mercola, and we will provide the link below this video so that you can read the entire article. But let me give you a little bit of a snapshot of what this is all about. It's all about interval walking training, or IWT. So, it says here physical inactivity is more relevant than ever before, with the World Health Organization identifying it as the fourth leading risk factor for death worldwide. And
Wow.
just to put this into perspective, Peter, if US adults aged 40 to 85 plus increased moderate to vigorous physical activity by only 10 minutes per day, approximately 6.9% of annual deaths could be averted. To give you a number, 111,174 preventable deaths per year. Can you believe that?
That's a
That's
lot of people, eh? Wow.
absolutely. But it says here that the Japanese have developed innovative walking techniques that alternate between 3 minutes of slow, relaxed walking and 3 minutes of brisk walking and they've called it interval walking training. So this IWT was observed to improve your blood pressure, depression symptoms, even stroke risk, while enhancing muscle strength and immune system function, and also improving sleep. So they say here, moderate intensity exercise like walking is highly beneficial, with benefits increasing from 2,000 to 12,000 steps daily without upper limits on positive effects. So slow running and light intensity exercise, believe it or not, activates brain genes. It
Hmm.
increases neural activity in the hippocampus and provides mental health benefits without requiring athletic-like levels of discipline. So it says walking is enhanced through various methods like weighted vests, Nordic walking, so walking with poles, outdoor nature walks, social walking, and using time for creative thinking and personal development. So they say here walking is an exercise that can't be overdone. So that's the good news. So, how to get started on this IWT? It says here start by properly stretching your muscles. Walk with a small stride so you'll know you're at the right intensity when you're able to enjoy a conversation with a walking partner. Up the intensity by walking with bigger strides. Your heels are supposed to touch the ground first, then your toes. And then it says to bend your arms at right angles and swing them back and forth widely to help you walk with big strides naturally. Aim for a speed that slightly tightens your calf muscles, it says. Alternate between 3 minutes of slow walking and 3 minutes of fast walking. Aim for a total, it says here, of 60 minutes of fast walking weekly, spreading your IWT sessions over several days. So I thought that was interesting for you, my friend, because I know yet you're an avid walker. So am I. But you do it every morning religiously. What? You get up, what, at 5:36 and head
5:30.
out?
Yeah, I get up at 5:30. I'm on the road by 6 and I walk for 5 kilometers, which
Mhm.
on a good day, I do in 47
Yeah.
minutes. Today there was an inch of snow on the ground
Mhm.
and it's a little slippery. So I was 51 minutes and 30 seconds. But today I walked with my weight vest. I don't walk with a weight vest every day, but I try and walk several times a week with a weight vest. I carry 10 pounds in that 5 kilos or 10 pounds in the weight vest. And it's much easier on the balance than carrying a pack. There's another very important thing about keeping the arms up, and that's why I also use poles. A, it just help me to stop me falling on slippery roads.
Mhm.
But B, some people, if they walk with their arms down, will get an edema in their lower forearms and their hands from pooling blood, right? So the recommendation is, as you've just said, Kathleen, is to keep your arms at right angles.
Yes,
It's hard to do that without sticks, I find. Without walking poles, your hands tend to drop down. But with
true.
walking poles, you have no option. If your pole's at the right length, your forearms are always, your elbows always bent at 90 degrees. So that's another big advantage. So I always walk with poles. I started before I did the Camino in 2019, and I've just kept it going. I find, especially getting older, balance is not so good. It's just such a safety measure to have poles, and that's what I do. So yeah, so I agree with everything you said about walking and walking fast. What was it for 30 minutes, 30 minutes a week? Is
Well,
that
it
what?
is a total of 60 minutes weekly, but you can spread it out over several days.
Okay, so I walk for 250 minutes a week, roughly, and all of it's fast. I walk briskly the whole time. Maybe
Really?
I should try. Yeah, I walk at a rate of under 10 minutes per kilometer, which is 6 kilometers an hour, which is 3.6 miles an hour. But it's not on smooth tarmac. It's on gravel roads, and at the moment with snow, so it's a fairly brisk walk. Yeah.
Well, as a side note, I have heard of interval training. So this
Yep.
is pertaining to walking, but you might want to try slowing it down for 3 minutes
And then
and then
speeding in up.
speeding it up
Yeah.
just to see if you notice the difference. Because I have heard of interval training actually improving your physical strength and endurance and all of that. So it might be
Yeah.
interesting. I'd love to
Might
hear
be.
what you have to say about that.
And certainly back in my running days, which is seems to be a long time ago now, we used to do a lot of interval training where we do sprints for a couple of minutes and then
Oh yeah.
slow jog and then sprints. And back at school, which is even further into the distance past for rugby training, we used to do a lot of sprints and interval training there as well.
Oh,
Yeah, so everybody get out there and get walking, and let's cut the death rate down. I've
yeah.
got something interesting that to do with sort of do with exercise, but certainly to do with aging that I picked up this week, Kathleen,
Yeah.
and that is that balance is much more critical when you are old. I didn't realize this. I read this article and says when you're 20 to 40, you should be able to stand on one leg with your eyes closed for up to 20 seconds. So I thought, and it goes down. And once you're over 70, that's done. You're lucky if you can do it for 1 second. So I thought, oh, that's absolute nonsense. I'm so fit with all my walking and other exercises that I do. I'll easily be able to do that. So I tried it a couple of nights ago. I think I could make 3 seconds and I want to fall over. I was absolutely horrified.
Really?
You want to try it. And it says, I think when you're under between 40 and 60, you should make only about 10 seconds. That's what they say the average is. And over 70, it's 1 second. So anyway, with my eyes open, I can manage over 10 seconds. But with my eyes closed, the first time it was about 2 seconds. So I did it. I've done it for a few days. So I'm now up to 5 seconds, both legs, one at a time with eyes closed. And I'm going to push it and try and get higher. But it's frightening. It's frightening. Give
Well, that's interesting. I'm definitely going to give that a try
it a
right
go.
after this
Yeah.
video, actually. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
There you go. So now, what about your health product? What have you got to tell everybody about today?
Well, Peter, I want to talk about this wonderful product of Dr. Morse's, and we're going to put a link below this video as well. And this is for the ultimate salve. Oh, I don't know if you can see that very well.
Hmm?
Uh, the ultimate salve. It's
Yep.
it's a skin ointment, and it's made with beautiful ingredients. And it says here it's made with golden seal root, burdock leaf, aloe vera, cat's claw bark, and astra astragalus root. It's fantastic. I put it on any wounds at all or scrapes and bruises. I mean, you can put it on anything really. I've put it on my face, on anything that I find that's really sore or abrasions, and it really helps to heal the skin. So once again, it's the ultimate salve. Can you see that, Peter?
Yep. I can
Can
see it.
you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Good. There we go. I should probably use that on all the scrapes that I've got on my skin. But
Well, it would be interesting to try it, Peter,
mm,
on
mm,
any skin cancer. Be interesting to
yes.
because it says it expedites wound healing and all of that. It would be interesting to see what it can do for the skin in that regard.
Mm. Just on that one, I had another two skin cancers cut out last week, I think. One
Yeah.
was quite a big one, so I've got a gash of about 3 inches in my one leg. The other was small. But what I've noticed is since I've improved my diet and including drinking Dr. Morse's Heal All tea, that those two wounds have healed almost perfectly in 9 days. Right.
Wow.
He said, I've got to leave the sutures in for 2 weeks. I think they could come out now. But compared to some of the earlier ones when my diet wasn't quite so good, dramatic improvement in healing. So I can't say it's all Dr. Morse's Heal All tea, but I think that's got something to do with it. And
Absolutely.
certainly better nutrition is helping. Yeah, so lots to learn. It's never too old to learn about health, are we? Eh? All these
Never.
things that
There's
we
so
learn.
much to learn.
Anyway, thanks for all that health stuff, Kathleen. Let's talk about what's happened on the show. Well, as we mentioned before Christmas and again in our last newsletter, we've gone on to a 2 weekly cycle of guest interviews. Um, we found that a guest interview every week was a lot for us to handle, so we've gone to one every 2 weeks. So we didn't have a guest interview this week. Our last one was last week with Catherine Corona. Coming up next week will be Jenny Powers, and she's a very interesting lady. She is a scientist and an anthropologist, and she has a book called The Origin of Being. And her basic premise is that our societal and lifestyle evolution has rapidly outpaced our biological evolution. She says we have bodies that are designed for sort of caveman diet or hunter-gatherer diets and working conditions, which we're trying to feed with 20th century or 21st century fast food, processed food diets, and stressed and hectic lifestyle. And it doesn't work too well. And she says, and this is why we have so many ailments or conditions of affluence and all the problems, a lot of the problems that we have, from heart disease to diabetes, allergies, and all sorts of things. It's quite a fascinating topic, and she has a lot of facts to back this up on. And she talks about the nature of work and how some of the few remaining hunter-gatherer societies in the world work far fewer hours a day than we do. And many of them live into ripe old age without ever getting any of the health conditions we get. So she explores this in some detail during the interview. It's a good one to watch. In 2 weeks' time, after that, sorry, so in 3 weeks from now, we'll have Professor Keith Ellis, who talks about long recovery from long COVID and the complications arising from post-viral infections, whether it's COVID or any other viral infection. And the fascinating thing here is that some people get over serious infections without any long-term effects, whereas others take months and months to recover. And he tries to explore the reasons for that, explains some of them, and he also explains a range of natural health products that he's developed that help you combat these effects of post-viral infections. And then 2 weeks after that will be Dee Manny, who is a pharmacist, and she talks about the benefits of CBD. So that's what we've got coming up for you. And so you don't miss out on our future guests that we have coming. Hop onto our website, yakkingshow.com, and sign up for our newsletter. We only send you one email a week, but we tell you about who's on this week and who's coming next week. And I think, Kathleen, I think we need to talk about a Facebook group that we've started for the benefit of both our guests and our audience. This is what we have started. So it's very new. There's not many members yet, but they're joining well, and we want to give you an opportunity to make direct contact with the guests that we've had on the show, the experts, and they will be invited to join, and that's the place for it. And that's about it from me. So over to you, Kathleen.
Well, thank you all so very much for tuning in once again. And until next week, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.